Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. I don't want anything to do with any of my half-siblings. Tried posting this on Confession but it got removed, but I really need to just have somebody hear me say this even if I'm wrong about it. So I'm 18F and in my final year of high school, and although I love my dad a lot, he is a serial cheater. I absolutely hate that part of him. I know that my mother loathes it too, since they've gotten into some pretty bad arguments about it. But in the end they always forgive each other and move on. So over the course of my entire life, my dad has spawned 4 half-siblings, with another on the way from a girl who's only 6 years older than me. The oldest, Eliza, is 15F and the youngest is 2M. I seriously hate that he does this so much. I have told him over and over again that I wish he could just be faithful to our family, but he never is. Because my best memories are of him and my mom and me all just being together. And the worst part is whenever I'd yell or get mad at him about it, he seems happy about it and tells me he's proud that I'm willing to stick up for myself and that he knows I'll never let anybody push me around. Like he makes me feel happy for being angry. I never minded that he'd spend time with his other kids or pay for their school or parent support or anything like that until now. Eliza transferred into my school in September, but really only started a little bit ago cause she was in the hospital. Even though it's an all-girls academy, it's not the biggest school and people talk. Some of my friends asked if she looks like you. She has the same last name and your dad went with her to the principal's office. Is that your cousin? I've said no, but I'm certain she's had the same questions from her friends. She came up to me twice already asking if we could hang out and get to know each other because she wants to have a big sister. I've shut her down twice, and according to my dad she cried the second time. He told me I don't have to do anything with her but to be polite, and if she reveals we're siblings I can't deny her who she is and I should get to know her and the others. I try to be polite, but I just don't want anything to do with her or any of my other half-siblings, and I don't want people to know we're sisters. It's not their fault for being born, but I shouldn't be expected to do anything with them just cause my dad can't stop cheating. They're his responsibility and not mine. AITA for yelling after my father brought my half-sister into our family therapy? Not the a-hole, so I didn't even know my dad could do this. I'm so pissed about it, but I also feel really terrible. So yesterday was family counseling night and I, 18F, enjoy going because it helps get all the secrets out and it makes me feel happy and like my family is normal. But my mom, 39F, didn't go because my cousin gave birth and she wanted to be there to see her. So it was just me and my dad, 44M, going, which is fine. We've been there alone a lot of time before. But waiting in the counselor's office already was my half-sister Eliza, 15F, and I don't know why it just made me upset seeing her there. I didn't not participate in the counseling session, but it made me really sad and mad at the same time, and the counselor figured out what was going on but my dad didn't, and I couldn't even talk properly. It felt like Eliza was trying to make me look like a villain for not letting people know she was my sister, which I never said she couldn't tell, just that I didn't want her to, and not wanting to hang out with her, which I don't. When we went back home, my dad asked me what was wrong and what was so quiet, and I just yelled at him that he shouldn't have brought her without asking, and I felt like he broke my trust. He didn't say anything, but I could tell I hurt him. I just went to bed after crying. He came into my room later to talk, but I pretended to sleep and kissed me on the forehead and left. I know I made him feel really bad and I haven't seen him all day. He's over visiting my baby half-brother. My mom told me that I shouldn't have used the words I did since I'm 18 now, and I just feel like a major asshole about it all. Edit, since somebody suggested I add this, my dad is a serial cheater and has 4 kids, soon to be 5, out of his marriage to my mom. But I still love him a lot because he's a very good dad. NTA, this therapy is a safe space for you and he should have asked if it was alright to bring her. And if your answer was still no, he needs to respect that. Therapy is a space where you can go and work through your problems, not be blindsided. The man is married with 4 kids, soon to be 5 outside of his marriage. He's clearly never met a boundary he wouldn't cross. NTA. Absolutely, no one except the dad is the R in this situation. Like maybe mum for carrying on with this farce like nothing to see here while setting up her child to carry all this upset while still believing that he is in any way a good father. Way to model a healthy loving relationship for your child. Both parents are at this point. 5 kids out of the marriage is way past family therapy. Mom sticking with this relationship probably has a lot to do with why they're in family therapy. Combine that with dad's serial heating and this is not a healthy environment for a kid. Dad's serial heating. Dad's surely heating up some ovens for all those buns, goddamn. Dad needs to 1. Stop cheating, but that's unrealistic. 2. Use protection. 3. Stop having more kids. A vasectomy may be in order, but 2. Would also solve. LMFAO. As Billy Idol suggested, it's hot in the city. I looked at your posting history, and it's a pretty clear NTA. Your father should not have cheated, or since now it's kinda too late for that, he should not force you to deal with your half-siblings. And especially not as a surprise in your therapy session. Your half-sister is also NTA though, and if you took out your anger on her, you would be the asshole. I go to an exclusive all-girls academy and my half-sister transferred there at the start of this semester. She only started recently because she was in the hospital before. If she hadn't approached me, I don't think he would have tried this, but I haven't gotten angry at her, I've always been polite. This sounds like the plot to the new Gossip Girl on HBO. 2 half-sisters at an exclusive private school. Did your father support her switching to your school? Yes, he's the one who arranged it since he wants her to have the same university prospects and opportunities I do. I guess there were no other equivalent schools near her? I would suggest that you update your post to reflect the situation with your dad being a serial cheater and that you have multiple half-siblings that you don't share a home/life with, and don't really know well. That is actually a very relevant context for this discussion. Curious as to whether or not your parents are still together/living in the same home and trying to salvage the immediate family, or if they are split up. 'Cause that also seems relevant. My parents are still married and are very happy with each other, but my mom hates his cheating even more than I do. I'll add an edit later. I don't think then it's a happy marriage then if your mother is angry at your father for his cheating constantly. When I was younger it used to be a lot worse. I still have nightmares about the way they would yell at each other over it. But it seems good now to me at least. They go on date nights, have anniversary celebrations, we have movie night together and watch shows every night together. They still argue about it, but now they wait for our counseling to actually talk about it, and that's helped a lot. Op's father is clearly a terrible husband, but that doesn't necessarily prevent him from being a good father. He might be a good dad to Op, but I doubt that he has time to be a good dad to his other 4 kids. Well, he's the only one I haven't, as much as it sucks that he's still cheating, he's still always there for me. I still love him a lot because he's a very good dad. Is he a good dad to all of his kids? He needs to be there for them, too, to be a good dad. And, he can be a good dad to you and still be a bad person and a bad husband. NTA, nobody should have a stressful person, or any person, dropped into a therapy session without the client's permission. I know he loves all his kids. I haven't seen him all day today cause he's in the hospital cause my baby half-brother has a bad infection. He visited Eliza in the hospital every day when she was there. But I don't know if qualifies as a good dad to them, but I always felt like he does to me. Update, AITA for yelling after my father brought my half-sister into our family therapy? Update. So just to give everybody an update, my dad didn't come home all day on Saturday because my baby half-brother, 2 years old, was in the hospital. Apparently things are really bad with him, and the day after he came back from the hospital and we had a big talk about what happened. I want to thank everyone who pointed out I was right to be upset, but I had things to think about regarding Eliza because she was hurting too. First, Dad apologized for not telling me that he was bringing Eliza into the counseling session and that he wouldn't ever do anything like that again. I apologized for swearing while yelling and he forgave me. When he asked me if I got Eliza was hurting too, I told him I did and he suggested we have our own counseling. I told him that I'd think on it. The second thing that he told me is there's a chance that my baby half-brother might die, and that news put the things I said in perspective for him. He told me he'd already talked to it with my mom and his mistress, but was asking me for permission because he hurt me the most and never should have. He wanted to know if I'd be okay with him going to inpatient rehab for sex addiction, which I didn't know was a thing. I said yes because I hope it'll help him, even though I know that I'm going to miss him a lot. Like some of you suggested, I agreed to counseling with Eliza on Wednesdays. We had only one session now, and even though we aren't friends or anything, I think she gets why I feel the way I do and apologized to me because she didn't know how hurt I was because of Dad after she confessed being hospitalized made her feel normal since Dad visited her every day. I felt bad and apologized for having not cared about her. She still feels upset about me not wanting to let her tell people we're sisters, but told me she's fine since we're doing counseling and we might one day get close. I don't know if we will, but at least we won't hate each other. I also took Eliza with me to visit our baby half-brother in the hospital, and it surprised his mom that we came there. I'm still not forgiving her though. He's a really cute kid and I regret not seeing him much before. It's hard to say, but I originally made this Reddit account to rant about my half-siblings, but you guys really helped make a difference in the way I was approaching this and what I'll use this account for later on. My baby half-brother might die and I'm scared on what I'm supposed to do. If you're wondering if this is related to the update post I posted on another subreddit an hour ago, it is, but that was written Friday and it took till today to approve. So things have changed since it was written and it's taken a turn. I, 18F, have never been close with any of my half-siblings. I have 4, soon to be 5, my dad is a serial cheater, and I'll admit that I wanted nothing to do with them all, but the events of the last 2 weeks kinda sorta made me change my mind on it. I'm not friends with any of them, but I just started counseling with my younger half-sister Eliza, 15F. Our youngest half-brother Ilya, 2M, got an infection and he's been in the hospital for a little over a week now. I've visited him once with Eliza on Wednesday, which surprised his mother, 24F, since she knows I don't like her. Today my dad gave me the news that he's gotten a lot worse. I don't know who to talk to about this. I don't feel like I can talk to my mom. My dad seems emotionally exhausted and it's only strangers on the internet here, so I guess I feel like I can vent. I mean, I want him to get better, but I've never thought of him as family and didn't even think I loved him. I still don't actually, but I'm feeling scared and anxious. I don't know if I should talk to my dad or if I should go to the hospital again or anything, or even talk to his mother. TL, doctor. My baby half-brother, who I've never been close to, might die soon and I don't know what I'm supposed to do now, and it's making me feel really strange. What you are feeling is completely normal. It makes sense to not want a relationship with your half-siblings considering your dad's infidelity. But now that you may lose one, you are having a completely normal reaction. If you're allowed at the hospital, COVID restrictions, I would go visit the little guy. You do not want to leave feelings left unsaid, even if he is too young to know what's going on. Then, when the time is right with your dad, I would talk to him about it. Regardless of what happens, it seems you have gained valuable insight that might change the way you consider your relationships with your half-siblings. Good luck, and please feel free to update us and vent more. It's normal and human to care about your brother even if you don't like the way that your siblings were created. I would also find out if Eliza wants to go back, but you should go if you want and you don't need her each time you go. I would visit, I would express your support to your father and even to his mother. Wanting your brother not to die and to get better, and expressing sympathy to his mom isn't the same as approving anything. And it's not this girl's fault that your father is a serial philanderer predator. And in this context it's kind of irrelevant giving your father your sympathy and support about his kid. If anything, it improves my perception of him that he actually cares. I would go, I would maybe even bring a little stuffed animal. If you want and it would make you feel better, you can ask his mom if there's anything that she needs or bring her a sandwich. And you can be honest about the fact that this is difficult for you and your father's behavior is difficult for you, creating all of these siblings that you don't have any relationship with. But you put that aside out of support for what's going on and you really want him to get better. It's confusing, but sometimes you need to just focus on what you need to do, and I think what you need to do is do supportive things, and worry less about the fact that you're a caring person makes it confusing for you because you haven't worked out all the details about how you feel about all of these various disconnected pieces of your life. It's normal and human to care about your brother even if you don't like the way that your siblings were created. I didn't even know I did care about him. I guess I do. I just feel so bad for not caring and avoiding him as much as I could before. I wish I could have seen him happy. I would also find out if Eliza wants to go back, but you should go if you want and you don't need her each time you go. I went alone last night, but I'll drive her tonight and tomorrow and however time is left if she wants to go. I would visit, I would express your support to your father and even to his mother. Wanting your brother not to die and to get better, and expressing sympathy to his mom isn't the same as approving anything. And it's not this girl's fault that your father is a serial philanderer predator. And in this context it's kind of irrelevant giving your father your sympathy and support about his kid. If anything, it improves my perception of him that he actually cares. Thank you. I sign you that, but it's different when somebody types up what you think. I would go, I would maybe even bring a little stuffed animal. If you want and it would make you feel better, you can ask his mom if there's anything that she needs or bring her a sandwich. I'll do that. I'll visit the store after school. And you can be honest about the fact that this is difficult for you and your father's behavior is difficult for you, creating all of these siblings that you don't have any relationship with. But you put that aside out of support for what's going on and you really want him to get better. It's confusing, but sometimes you need to just focus on what you need to do, and I think what you need to do is do supportive things, and worry less about the fact that you're a caring person makes it confusing for you because you haven't worked out all the details about how you feel about all of these various disconnected pieces of your life. Thanks, I really appreciate you writing this. It means a lot to me. I'm in school right now trying to be calm and just browsing Reddit. I'll probably look at your message again when I feel like crying. My baby half-brother died and he didn't even get to see Christmas. I don't know if this is the right sub to post about this, but I don't know what the duck to do. My baby brother died just hours before midnight, so he didn't even see Christmas. I can't talk to my dad cause he won't stop crying. My mom doesn't care. The only other person who even knew him is my half-sister. She left after he stopped breathing and hasn't responded. Like duck, I don't get it. I didn't even think I liked him or loved him. I thought I hated all my half-siblings and I hated his mom for trying to take my dad. It's like I missed out on the small time he had cause I was so ducking spoiled and selfish. I got him a teddy for Christmas and he'll never get to play with it. I wish I could have seen him happy cause I was wrong and he did matter. Now when I go to my aunt's house tomorrow, I'm going to have to pretend like nothing ducking happened for mom, but I can't stop crying now. Duck it, I'll leave in all my typos this time. He was so cute and he deserved a better sister than me, all of them do. I miss you, Ilya. I wish I could hold you again. I am so sorry. My heart and tears are mourning with you. I don't know why I ducking posted this here either. It's like people without faces are the only ones who listen sometimes. I'm listening. I hear you. And I am so sorry for your loss. Well, I do have a face, and I am listening. I went through a similar trauma with my own child, and while everyone copes with these events differently, I do understand the pain and the grief, especially when it is this fresh. I'm so sorry that you're having to go through this is just absolutely awful. I'm here to listen, if you need. Thanks. I see all these comments and I want to say something, but I just don't know what the doctor say or type. Like my mom's driving me right now and talking to me like duck ain't happened, and I'm just nodding along like my counselor is on vacation too. Like there's nobody to ducking talk to. But thanks for offering to listen, and I'm sorry about your child too. I hope you get better. You don't have to say anything. This is very fresh, and it is okay to just accept the support. Nobody here expects you to say anything. It's okay to not say anything. We are here to offer you support. Don't feel like you need to answer every comment. You're still processing, and you get to cope with this on your time and in your own way. We are commenting to offer you our support given what you have written, and there is no obligation on your end. I can't tell you exactly what is going on with your mom. I don't know the exact situation and I don't need to. I also am not sure from your post whether your mom is the mother of your half-brother who passed away, so I will just advise you both ways. As a mom to 2 kiddos, I can tell you that not every mom is going to grieve the same way. When something like this happens, it's shocking. It completely disrupts the entire homeostasis of your life. And there's no one right way to handle such a fresh and serious event. Maybe your or his mom just doesn't know how to begin processing this. Maybe she's shocked. If your mom isn't the mother of your half-brother, and she's more removed from the situation, maybe you need to tell her how you're feeling, tell her that you need support, and that you cannot act like everything is normal when for you right now it's not. You've just endured a very difficult 24 hours, and you shouldn't be expected to act as if everything is normal and hold a normal conversation. It is 100% okay to say, Mom, as you know, this just happened last night and I am not comfortable socializing today. Sometimes us parents don't know exactly how to handle tough situations. Sometimes we feel like we are doing the right thing by trying to maintain a sense of normalcy, when maybe that's not the right thing to do. So it's okay to give your parents some input about how you're feeling, and about what you would and wouldn't like to discuss. This affects you as well, and I would encourage you to be as open as possible with your parents about your thoughts and feelings if that is possible for you. This affects you as well. You're allowed to communicate your feelings, even if it hurts. My heart goes out to your family. People without faces are the only ones who listen. Is one of the most profound things I've seen written anywhere. Hugs, from a mom. Frankly, your mom is being selfish so and so. Of course you loved your baby brother. And any decent human being would be sad about the death of an infant, especially at Christmas. I'm so sorry this happened. If you can, just spend time with your dad, even if you just cry together. I wish I knew you in person so I could hug you as you cry. Poor baby, both you and your little bro. We are real people with feelings too. Giant hugs. It's okay to grieve. Bottling it up will only hurt you in the king run. Take it from someone who felt they had to for nearly 4 years because it felt like no one wanted me to find ways or time to grieve over my father's death. This will be 8 years later, and I have been able to grieve for about a year. What has helped me find this path is to talk to a therapist. However you decide to find the path you need to grieve, all I ask is you do not bottle it up like I did. I honestly feel like I would have had an easier time if I had someone to talk to sooner rather than later. I'm so sorry for your loss. I don't know if I can offer comfort, but I wanted you to know this is, by no stretch of the imagination, your fault. Blaming yourself is a normal part of grief. Let yourself feel that hurt but also understand that's overwhelming emotion taking over. It may feel like it's your fault but I promise you it isn't. I'm so sorry. I don't understand what it's like to lose a sibling, but I do have half siblings so I understand that jealousy, that's a natural response. Like I'm jealous that they get the childhood I wanted of having two parents, but also sometimes feels like they are taking my mom away from me when really it's our mom. But it's natural that you got jealous. I mean, it took me years to stop hating my half-siblings, and I still don't like my stepdad even though he isn't a bad guy. Don't get angry with yourself, you didn't know how much time was left, you were just treating him like how we first children treat half-siblings. But just take this to let go of that jealousy if you can, and spend more time with your loved ones. Stay strong, friend, Blue Heart. I'm sorry for your loss. But don't try to deny your emotions. The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. This means that the bond of the family you choose is stronger than bond of the family you were born to. And considering that you are mourning your half-baby brother means that you choose him to be a part of your family. Not your mom's or dad's, but yours. Whatever your family issues your mom and dad are going through, your baby half-brother was innocent in all this family drama. Don't let yourself hate your half-siblings because of what happened between your mom and dad, they're innocent as well. I'm sorry, it's okay to grieve, and it's okay to grieve in front of your mom. You are in grief. No matter what other people in your life may tell you right now, you are not in any capacity to move on and be normal, at least not now. To you a tragedy has happened, and I'm truly sorry this has happened. Please don't go pretending the day is fine, it's not. Tell your mother your feelings, tell her the truth that you are grieving, hurt, and upset. I can only hope she understands. Life may seem dark for the coming future, I wish I had words of comfort to give you. If you are able, I may recommend therapy, online therapy, if it makes you feel better. It could be helpful, but honestly I can't promise that. Something I do know is that you may never get over this in a way, and I hope you know that that's completely okay. The loss of a sibling is awful no matter the circumstances, and especially at such a young age. Moving on may not be simple or even possible, and even if you still feel sad years from now or like something is missing, I just hope you know that is okay. I'm trying to share what may happen later on in your life contentious because at this point I feel you should still be in grief and no advice will really make sense or be helpful. My condolences. Reading some of your other posts just knows that humans are very complex and emotions are confusing. It's why the world is the way it is. You have done absolutely nothing wrong here, and it's okay to have feelings of any kind. Feel sad for you, and I can feel your pain. The loss of a sibling is a big shock. Take care of yourself. How did this happen? I am truly so sorry. Sending you much love. I cannot imagine the pain you are in right now. I'm so sorry, you don't deserve this. Sending you much love, less than 3. I am so sorry for your loss, I can't imagine the pain, sending you strength through these hard times, take care, less than 3. My best friend lost a baby many years ago. The best advice is to give yourself and others space. Grief hits everyone differently, and grief for a child can last a very long time. Whatever mess you are is okay. I seriously hope that the people in your life can let you grieve. Anyone who doesn't give you room to be sad for the loss of a child is being cruel. Your empathy is a sign that you are a good person. And there's time to be kind to the people who have also felt this loss. I wouldn't try to say anything, but it sounds like you know everyone well enough to make their lives a little easier. I tend to do dishes and clean for my struggling friends. It's almost more about small kindnesses and being there when something big and terrible happens. I know you'll figure out what works best in your situation. Dear, I lost my sister a month ago. As an adult it has been horrible, we didn't always get along. It is almost unimaginable as a kid to lose a little sibling. My heart aches for you. Please understand that you must not beat yourself up for having resented your baby brother. In your heart you have always loved him. Experiencing those feelings that define selfishness and being aware of them is part of the maturing process as you're growing up. It's okay to be hurt, allow yourself to grieve, and your dad. As for you, Mom. Honey, I don't know what to say. She should be more sensitive to the fact that your grief needs are more important than her bruised ego. Keep reaching out for support from others who understand and can help you navigate the steps of grief. prayers for you and your half-siblings, Dad, most of all for your mom. Go to your parents and siblings and tell them what you're feeling and let them tell you. Just be there for them, hug them, cry and come together. That is all you can do and that's all that needs to be done. My heart goes out to you. I just lost my best friend and soulmate, my fiancé, about 45 days ago. I don't feel any better since the day I got the phone call and I haven't been okay since. I make it literally from moment to moment. You're in my prayers. I'm sorry. Please don't try to pretend like nothing happened. You and your family are experiencing a tragedy right now and you need all the support you can get. It's normal to have complicated feelings during grief. AITA for not wanting to give a speech at my baby brother's funeral. Not the a-hole. So my baby half-brother Ilya died 3 days ago just before Christmas. I don't want to be posting this but nobody else is listening. Ilya's mom was a TA at my school, so that's how she knows that I'm able to give good speeches. I won the award in grade 9 for best speech. Well, yesterday I went with my dad to meet her cause I've just felt like such shit since he died and I know she's feeling worse than anyone. My dad said he'd handle all the funeral costs and arrangements. He brought up that it's his family tradition for fathers, oldest brother and nephew if any to speak at funerals. Since my other half-brother is still too little, my dad suggested it to me cause I'm the oldest and Ilya's mum seemed cheered up. I said yes then, but the entire night I've been scared about it. I don't know what to talk about or what to write about. I know it means a lot to my dad that I said yes and a lot to Ilya's mom that I did actually care for Ilya. But I'm scared cause I don't know, but I am. I tried writing this morning but kept feeling like crying. I tried talking to my mom about it even though she hates hearing about my half-siblings. She told me that since I committed to it I had to do it and I had to uphold my father's family tradition best I could. My dad hasn't answered his phone but I know he'd be disappointed too. I've felt super shitty and like a super asshole all morning for not wanting to do it anymore. I'm sorry for rambling, but am I the asshole for not wanting to do it anymore? I'm feeling really confused. Edit, I'm a girl, but I'm the oldest, which is why my dad suggested I do it to stick as close to the tradition. Edit 2, I get it, you've read my past posts, it's not an excuse to send me ducked up DMs. You don't force a child to give a speech at a funeral. Right? Just because he did a good instructional speech in grade 10 speech class, doesn't mean he is ready to give a eulogy at a funeral. What are they thinking? They're 18, at least. That's an adult. She's old enough to say no. My big brother took his life pretty recently and I gave a eulogy. I'm the same age as Op. If she doesn't want to give one, she needs to say no. Especially since her posts leading up till now are all about how she hated her half-siblings, never saw them, didn't want to see them. She doesn't know anything about this little boy, so of course she's struggling to write a whole speech about him. She didn't want to know him until he was already gone. At this point, her speech would only be about her regret, and not paying tribute to this little boy's life, a life she wasn't active in. So she needs to front up and be honest that she didn't know Ilya, and someone else needs to take the reins on this so she can grieve and process her own feelings in a healthy way, which is not in front of an entire audience of people. Her mom is TA for trying to pressure her into it when she's trying to bow out. Nah. So, my dad died when I was 16, and I absolutely did not want to speak. My sister, meanwhile, wanted to speak but couldn't think of what to say. So I found a poem for her to read, that way it came from both of us. Maybe if you find something for the younger half-brother to read, that way you could help honor the tradition and play a role without having to speak yourself. Also, what's too little? My second cousin spoke at my great-aunt's funeral and he can't have been more than 10. Maybe even younger. One of my co-workers died in January 2020 from a stroke, and we had a huge memorial for her in February 2020, oh, those were the days. Since she was a children's librarian, they wanted some of her past/present patrons to speak. One of the teens said she would, and then when the time came, she couldn't. So the funeral just moved on. While they're not assholes for asking, you're also not the asshole for feeling uncomfortable with it. No one should force adults to speak at funerals. Public speaking is such a common fear, why combine it with grief? 18 is not a child. I agree with NTA judgment, but she's 18, and was asked, not forced. Mom is forcing up. Well, both mom and dad are definitely assholes. Telling people to live up to commitments they made isn't forcing, but I'd say it was definitely a bad response here. But then, if you read Op's post history, her parents are just pretty awful. I did say NTA, but I think saying she's being forced is a bit of a cop-out. She's NTA, but no one can really force her to do anything. Unfortunately for her, she's going to need to learn to set boundaries and be independent very quickly for her own good. I feel for her. Nah, your dad and the boy's mom are certainly not assholes for asking. You're not an asshole for not feeling comfortable with it. Might I suggest, instead of writing a speech, picking out a poem to read? Maybe there's a book you read to him, not sure how old he was. You could read that to him one last time. I'm so sorry for your loss. Remember, your grief is valid. Nah. This is such a difficult situation. They've rented assholes for asking, and you wouldn't be for saying no if you didn't want to. However, if there is any part of you that wants to do this but you're just struggling to write a speech, then reading something like a book you both read together is a good way to go. I went to the funeral of a great aunt recently, and her son read a Dr. Seuss story that she often read to him when he was a boy. It was pretty moving. Or maybe you have a special memory of him and you together. Doesn't have to be deep. It could just be about you kidding around or playing something together, or a prank he once played on you. Anyway, whatever you decide, you aren't the A. You are grieving, and anyone else should understand this. Tagging onto a higher rated NAR in the hope that Top will see this. As someone who performs funerals on a daily basis, let me give up some advice. When a child passes away, it's far more difficult to write a tribute/eulogy than a person who has lived a longer life. There are still plenty of options that have been mentioned already that you can consider, but only if you feel up to doing it. I would never pressure someone to read something if they are not comfortable doing so. You can pick a poem or reading. There's plenty of Winnie the Pooh excerpts and Dr. Seuss poems. There's a reading called Waterbugs and Dragonflies. You can share a few memories of time spent together, if they're old enough for you to have played with them. You can talk about what your hopes were for him when he was older. I always thought he was a sweet little boy who would have made a kind and caring doctor. He was so funny. I could see him as a famous actor and share little anecdotes that way. But I suspect something simple will be the best way to go. Choose a poem or reading. The words you need to say are already put together for you. Be well, and I wish you courage and peace. NTA. Don't give any eulogy if you don't have it in you. At your age, I do recommend that you put your feelings on paper. For a later time, you may need to do that. Do it now while things are still raw. Next year, you will feel differently. My sincere condolences to you, and your family. I know exactly how it feels to have a loved one pass away on Christmas Day, in fact. Stay strong. NTA. You are not wrong for feeling overwhelmed by this responsibility. Please talk to your father about it, and don't lead by saying that you don't want to do it anymore, but tell him honestly just what you told us here, that when you try to think about it you start crying and you're not sure how to proceed. Now, take a trip to the future and visit with yourself there. How would you feel if you decided not to speak? How would you feel if you didn't? Instead of an award-winning speech, you just said a few sincere words about your little brother and how much you will miss him. I think what's tripping you up, more than the grief, is this feeling of pressure because the speech was requested and positioned as something you should do because you have a talent for it. If you can just put yourself back into the role of an older brother saying goodbye at his baby brother's funeral, you will know exactly what to say. So long as it comes from the heart, you can't go wrong. Trust me when I say that even if you went up and froze for 3 minutes, at the end of the day no one is going to be focused on it. Take a few deep breaths and just let what's inside come out. You can even use this experience and say that while you are usually the type of person who loves to give speeches, this is one you never wanted to have to make and are relying on the strength of everyone in front of you to help pull you through. Say there's nothing you can say to make this day any better and just share your thoughts from there. NTA. Giving speeches at funerals is hard, and many adults struggle with it too. Everyone is grieving in their own ways right now. All I can suggest is sitting everyone down and explaining to them how you're feeling. I'm sorry for your loss, Op. I'm so sorry for your loss. May Elia's memory be a blessing. NTA. But, seriously, try writing. Maybe, first, write about your feelings, like for a diary entry. Write anything you think of about what the baby was like, what was endearing. Not something you will show anyone. Just what you feel. Then go away for an hour or two, and then reread and pick out some stuff to share. Then write a paragraph or as much as you want, but a paragraph is fine. Then, either read it or let the officiant read it for you, saying you are too upset to read it yourself. All the decent adults there will be totally on board with a teenager loving their baby brother and being broken up over his death. Then, at the funeral, you can read it, or not, and stand there while someone else reads it, or stay at your seat. Can you bring a supportive friend to be with you? Do you want to have a friend who could read it for you, instead of the funeral leader? BTW, it's totally normal for the funeral leader to read stuff mourners write. Our rabbi asked the 3 kids of my Phil to give him copies of their eulogies in advance, in case they couldn't finish themselves. Update, AITA for not wanting to give a speech at my baby brother's funeral. Update edit in case you missed the mod's comment, my last post is here. So I wasn't planning on posting this cause I got some nasty DMs because of my old posts, but my therapist said it might be good to have closure on all fronts, so here I am. I admitted to my dad that I was scared to give a speech and I didn't feel like I deserved to because I barely knew Ilya. He told me it was okay and to just write something and he'd say it for me if I wanted. I couldn't think of anything, so I just wrote down a Buddhist prayer my mom taught me when her cousin died. Ilya's mom said the prayer was fine and I could say it in Chinese. At the funeral I decided to say the prayer and Dad and my half-sister Eliza stood by me in case I couldn't do it. It helped that there weren't that many people because it was right after New Year's. I said the prayer in Chinese and then in English. I was only there on stage for like 2 minutes and I kinda broke down right when I stopped. I cried so much the rest of the funeral was just a blur. Really, I can't even remember the rest, just going home and falling asleep crying in my mom's lap. My dad left for inpatient rehab the day after the funeral. It's been weird just being me and mom at home without him, especially because it's hard to talk to mom about Ilya. Eliza wants me to introduce her to our other half-siblings Shan and Mateo, but I feel so awful, especially because Ilya looked so much like Mateo used to as a toddler. I've just been so terrible to all of them. I did agree to it though, so I guess I'll suck it up and see if I can do it next week. I did visit Ilya's mom when she messaged me. It was kinda awkward cause I felt so bad for hating her for so long. She gave me some of his ashes in a vial as a thank you for loving him. Doesn't feel like I deserved it though. I'm keeping it in my room, but I heard they can get infused in jewelry, so I'm going to ask my dad to do that once he's back so I can always have him with me. It'll be the only jewelry that I'll actually like wearing. Hope that's some closure for you guys too. Thanks for those of you who pointed out I didn't need to do anything. You sound like the sweetest person. Be so gentle with yourself and give yourself grace. You are so wise beyond your years. Take care of yourself, sweet top. Thanks for the compliment, but it really doesn't feel like that. Sometimes, when we can't be kind to ourselves, we need to rely on other people to show us that kindness while we learn how to do it ourselves. Let us show you that kindness for a bit. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. This made me cry. It's so true. I have been, and still am, lucky enough to have people I can rely on to show me the kindness I can't show myself when I'm struggling. Everyone needs at least one person they can count on for that. It's so hard to feel worthy, and I'm so sorry you're dealing with so much right now. Good things will come to you, Op. You deserve them. From reading your posts, it seems like you're very hard on yourself. I know you're in family therapy, so I don't want to over-therapize you, but one thing that has helped me in the past is to imagine my best friend is going through what I'm going through. Would I be as hard on them? Would I do my best to see their point of view and give them some grace? I really don't think you've done any wrong here, but even if you had, would you forgive someone else for making the same choices you did? Especially if they felt as bad as you seem to? This is all really hard, and there's no right answer for how you're supposed to feel or what you should do. You've already made so much progress with your half-sister, and I'm so proud of you for being able to do something you were so scared of. You deserve to be able to grieve. You deserve to continue to love Ilya even though he's gone. You really are. Please have some compassion for yourself, heart. You are handling all these emotions so maturely. You have communicated your feelings, listened with kindness and empathy to the feelings of others, dealt with the incredibly difficult situation your dad created with regard to your siblings, and even resolved some of your feelings toward them enough to start building relationships, and you're still a kid. Handling everything you have and remaining loving through it all is something I haven't seen most adults manage. You're incredible, and I wish you all the best. I looked at a few of your past posts since you mentioned them in the edit to the original post. Not sure why people were saying mean things to you. Sometimes siblings don't have the same or equal affection for each other. It seems like a lot of your stress is caused by your dad. It's great to get to know your siblings, but you shouldn't be the one introducing and fostering those relationships. It's nice they asked you to speak at the funeral, but that is a big ask. The parents aren't doing a great job managing all the siblings, and you really need to take a breath and focus on your mental health and what you'd like to do as a child and not what you have to do for the family. I'm sorry for your loss and the stress, and I hope you are on a path to health and happiness. I don't know, I think it might have been a troll on one of my posts who called me a bully who was harassing me, or maybe people just like to be mean. I just feel guilty, you know. I mean, if I knew he was just a toddler, but if I'd known him more, maybe I would have known that I did love him before I did, and he would have too. And it's probably how my other half-siblings feel, maybe not Eliza anymore, about me too, that I'm a spoiled princess while they're dad's leftovers. I know I should bring these feelings up in therapy, and I will, but venting online is nice too. You're a good person. Your situation is complicated, but that doesn't make you a bad person. Please be kind to yourself and allow yourself to feel your difficult feelings. You were so courageous at the funeral. You showed up for your baby brother, and that's absolutely lovely. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night. Wherever you are.